I don't know about you, but that finish just didn't sit right with me. Have you ever watched a race where everything feels locked in, where the outcome seems earned, controlled, almost inevitable, and then in a split second, everything flips upside down? That was one of those moments. And the bigger issue is, this isn't just about one race anymore. It's starting to feel like a pattern, something much larger that could shape how this entire season unfolds. Because when the closing laps turn into chaos like that, it raises a question every NASCAR fan cares about. Are we still watching the best driver win, or are we watching circumstances decide the outcome? Stay with me, because what happened at the end of this race and what followed afterward has people in the garage talking, fans debating, and honestly, it may change the way you look at these finishes going forward. And before we dive in, if you're a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation Report is just getting started, and we're pushing for 15,000 subscribers. This is all about real talk from fans who live this sport every single week. Now let's talk about what actually happened, because this story has layers, and it's far more than just a late restart. At Kansas Speedway, Tyler Reddick pulled off a major victory in the Advent Health 400, but it didn't come easy, and it certainly didn't come quietly. For most of the day, this race looked like it belonged to Denny Hamlin. He had the pace, the track position, and the control you need to close out a win. Then, everything changed. A late spin by Cody Ware at the back of the field brought out a caution. That yellow flag instantly erased Hamlin's lead and sent the race into NASCAR overtime. Just like that, what had looked like a locked-in victory turned into a last-minute scramble. On the restart, Reddick, driving for 23XI Racing, did exactly what elite drivers do. No hesitation, no wasted movement. He handled the pressure, managed the fuel situation, and made the decisive move when it mattered most on the final lap. That wasn't luck, that was execution. That was a driver fully dialed in. And this win isn't just another trophy, it's a statement in the 2026 season. Week after week, Reddick is proving he's not just competitive, he's becoming one of the drivers to beat in the early championship battle. But the story didn't end on the track. After the race, Hamlin was clearly frustrated, and you could feel it. He didn't hold back when discussing the caution and how NASCAR handled the situation. He voiced what many fans were already thinking. When a driver dominates all day and then loses because of a late caution caused by someone running near the back, it's hard to accept. Hamlin questioned the consistency of when those cautions are thrown and, more importantly, how they affect race outcomes. And this isn't new. Back in April 2026, Hamlin had already raised concerns about NASCAR's overtime rules after another late race loss. So this is no longer a one-time complaint. It's becoming a pattern. He's pointing to a bigger issue, how these late cautions bunch the field back together and introduce variables that can completely reshape the race. And this is where things get even more complicated. Because Hamlin isn't just a driver, he's also a co-owner of 23EXI Racing, the same team that just won with Reddick. Think about that. On one side, he's a competitor for Joe Gibbs Racing, believing he lost a race he had under control. On the other side, his own team just took the victory. To his credit, Hamlin addressed that directly. He gave Reddick full credit, saying he did exactly what he needed to do and capitalized like a top-tier driver should. No bitterness toward the team, no negativity toward Reddick. But he also made it clear when he's behind the wheel, he's a competitor first. And losing like that feels personal. That's something every fan can understand. Because this isn't just about Hamlin, it's about how races are decided. NASCAR's overtime format is designed to create exciting finishes, and it does. But when late race cautions begin to feel questionable or inconsistent, it puts the entire system under scrutiny. Are we rewarding performance over the course of the race? Or are we creating a format where everything resets, no matter what a driver has built? That's the debate right now. And as the 2026 season continues, it's not going away, especially if drivers like Hamlin keep speaking up. Meanwhile, Reddick continues to deliver results. And whether you agree with how it happened or not, a win is a win. In NASCAR, those victories matter when you start talking about playoff momentum and championship positioning. So now the question is simple. Is this just part of the sport? Or will NASCAR eventually be forced to take a hard look at these late race decisions? Because if this keeps happening, it won't just decide races, it could decide a championship. And that's why this moment matters far beyond Kansas. If you watched that finish, I want to hear from you. Did NASCAR get it right? Or does Hamlin have a point? Personally, as a fan who watches every single lap, I believe Denny Hamlin absolutely has a valid argument. Not because he lost, but because this is happening too often to ignore. The caution itself, Cody Ware spinning, is technically legitimate. NASCAR had every right to throw the yellow. That's within the rules. But the bigger issue is what that caution creates. When the field is reset after someone like Hamlin or Reddick has built a lead over an entire race, it effectively erases the story of that race. And that's where it starts to feel less like pure competition and more like manufactured drama. Now, don't get me wrong. Reddick did everything right. He executed perfectly. That win is absolutely legitimate. But at the same time, you can't ignore the fact that Hamlin had controlled that race for most of the day. Without that late caution, we'd likely be talking about a completely different winner. That's why this debate matters. Because NASCAR has to decide what matters more. Do you want the most deserving driver over the full race to win? Or do you want the most exciting finish possible every time? Right now, it feels like the sport is leaning toward entertainment in those final laps. And as a fan, I'll admit overtime finishes are thrilling. They get your heart racing. But when they begin affecting outcomes this often, it raises serious questions about fairness. So, yes, Hamlin is speaking for a lot of people, even if some fans don't want to admit it. This isn't about taking anything away from Reddick. It's about asking whether the system is balanced the right way. And if NASCAR doesn't address it, this conversation will keep coming back, especially in bigger races and playoff moments. What happened at Kansas Speedway wasn't just about one finish. It was about how wins are decided, how championships can be shaped, and what NASCAR chooses to do next. Because if this continues, we're in for a season filled with drama, tension, and moments that could change everything when it matters most. And honestly, that's what makes this sport so compelling. We're not just watching races anymore. We're watching a storyline unfold week after week. Reddick is building momentum at exactly the right time. Denny Hamlin is not only battling on the track, but also challenging the way the sport is run. And NASCAR now finds itself in the spotlight. From here on out, every race will feel bigger. Every caution, every restart, every overtime finish will be examined more closely. Because now the question is no longer just who is the fastest. It's who can survive the chaos and still come out on top. And if Kansas is any sign of what's ahead, this season is about to become even more intense.